everyone. Salutations and welcome to our glorious Ashes of Creation May development update. We hope everyone is well and safe and has been having a good time. I know on our front we've been busy bees as per usual. I'm sure
I
you all,
know.
as we say every month, we're like in shock that a month has passed. But with me, as always, is Stephen Sharif, our creative director. And of course, I'm Margaret Crone, your community marketing lead. And today we'll be going over a whole slew of things. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be very art heavy, as you can see in our current
Yes.
topics.
I cannot tell you how excited I have been for this
He's
stream.
been really excited.
I mean, I like every day that passes and I'm watching the tech continue to get refined and the environments continue to get these passes. And I'm just talking to the team and like, holy smokes, how are you guys doing these things? It looks so good.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, we'll be sending lots of thanks in the future here of the stream, but the team has been doing crazy work. There's a little internal competition from the character creator to the environment art
the
team.
best the best kind of competition. We want the devs to be in competition. It's who can one up the other in the amazingness category.
100%. We have good time. It's all in good fun. But of course, we have some quick reminders. I will try to be quick with them, of course. And then we have our studio update. We just like to give you guys some info on what's going on and give you a little behind the scenes infos. And then, of course, we'll be going over environment art update, which is going to be the big piece of information for this stream. And then we do have some character art updates as well. We just want to share a couple things with you all. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A, of course, from all of the forum questions that you guys have submitted. So thank you to those of you who have partaken in those. So without further ado, I'll get through the quick updates because I know you guys want to see all the cool stuff. So first and foremost, we have our YouTuber subscriber comment here, which is from Dan Duffy. And of course, if you want to be the person who's spotlighted here, all you have to do is leave a comment on this video when we put it up on YouTube, and you could be the person. And of course, you have to be subscribed to our channel. That's the other key here. So they say, hey guys, I have a question about large scale sieges and raid groups. In the majority of game modes of this scale, there's very little meaningful communication or tactics among players, and it often degenerates into random death balls, doing random things, or one supreme
Very
raid
true.
leader screaming to 49 muted people in Discord.
Oh my god.
Could you guys give us an idea of what types of communication systems and hierarchies might be present in game to help large amounts of players make decisions and communicate them on the fly in combat?
If I had a dime for every time I was in an MMO with a raid shot caller that was screaming at 50 other people to do certain things as this hectic ball of raid just ran into each other, I'd have a few dollars. But that's a good question. And it's at the forefront of a lot of our administrative tools and functionality that we want to incorporate, both from a UI perspective, as well as from a voiceover perspective, from an indicator in the world with location markers, with symbols you can use above target heads, for granting administrative functions on the VoIP in RAID and in Party. There's a lot of things, excuse me, that we want to do from our experiences as playing these games in the past, and sharing that kind of experience that we think can help alleviate that. And a big portion of these systems are going to be coming online as part of Alpha 2. So it's important for those of you who are participating in testing in Alpha 2 to get a handle on those systems, to feel them out and see how much they mitigate those types of experiences, or at least streamline them into a not so chaotic environment. But it is something that we're focusing on for sure.
Yeah, and our UI team will work on a lot of cool tools for for you guys to utilize. I'm sure when design gets their hands on all the goodness. And of course, as always, we have our cosmetic swap over that will be happening on June 8th, 2022 at 11 a.m. Reminder that these help us build and shape the world. All the variants made from these sets, you'll see them in-game as NPCs, as creatures, as buildings, etc. And I mean, you see that in every one of our development updates as we showcase more and more of the game. And we have our dev discussion, which is which systems do you feel utilize RNG the best? Where do you feel RNG does not belong? What RNG based systems or features have you enjoyed the most? And of course, our next one is going to be on time dedication. So if you have thoughts on RNG, which I know y'all do because every nerd does, we love and hate it at the same time, but there's a place and a time for RNG. And we'd love to hear what you guys think to make sure that we're all on the same page in regards to that. And then, of course, last but not least, just a reminder that if you are a content creator, we do have a content creator program. It is still in the application phase. We will let you know when that closes and when we begin the invitation phase. But if you're curious about that, you can find all that information over on our site and in our support section as well. And without further ado, let's hand it over to Steven to talk a little bit about studio updates.
Studio updates. We have been on a hiring extravaganza. I know I've said this probably in the last three last three streams, but our HR team and our internal recruiters, Cameron, Stacy, Midori, they are doing a phenomenal job in guiding the troves of applicants we've had to the studio through the interview process. And just this week, we had 5 people start on Monday. And they are amazing, top quality candidates with incredible amount of talents. And it is so good to see our team continuing to grow. Obviously, Ashes is a huge project, and we need as many of the talented people out there in the development world as we can get. And we are actively recruiting, so keep on helping us from the community's perspective, sharing our socials that we send out, that our glorious community team helps with the recruitment message, and shoot that out to other people who you know in the industry are extremely talented. So that's going very well. We are very close to getting our graphics done in the interior of the studio and getting the logos and the 3D wall mounts and stuff implemented across the studio. That's going to be very soon. And then we'll hopefully be getting
Steven's already got
fun.
orchids. He
I
always has
know,
orchids everywhere.
Right? Well, John loves orchids, and he has a very good touch when it comes to keeping those orchids alive. But anyways, yeah. So things are going really good on the studio front.
My orchid hasn't bloomed.
Oh no,
not yet.
That's sad. Sad times. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I think that's pretty much the studio update.
Yeah, we have some cool art that we picked out for all the different spaces too, which I'm excited to see come to fruition.
Yes.
And that means I can bring back the Dev Diaries, which I hope folks enjoy. It's kind of like a little peek and insight into, all the people that work here and what we do and what we create. And with that, I think we're on to the big portion of the stream, which is the environment update. Do you want to play a little teaser cinematic first, and then?
Oh yeah, we could do the little,
and then do a little chat.
We could totally do that. Okay, but let me just give a real quick preface to the teaser, and then we'll talk about it. So we have 2 videos for you guys today.
Yes.
We have an environment update for Alpha 2 showcasing the Riverlands biome. This is a major area in Alpha 2. You might see some boats in the game. You might see some new creatures. You're going to definitely see some weather. You're going to see some seasons. You might see some transitions. Here's what I will say to you. I have, and I'm not trying to hype this. I'm trying to just give you my authentic feelings on it, right? Okay. I love every day my job, coming to work here, being with other amazing, talented developers who are creating many of our dreams in what Ashes of Creation is trying to achieve. And so much of what makes an MMO a good MMO is the gameplay. I mean, you can have the best looking game out there, and if the gameplay is not good, if the systems don't make sense, if there's problems with the economy and whatnot, like all of that beauty goes to waste. And at the same time, you can have a game that has amazing systems and has amazing gameplay, and that can keep a game going for a very long time. But if you also have with that beautiful sceneries and immersive world environments and awesome visual effects and just stuff that brings you into the world. That's like the holy grail, right? That's and especially if the company that publishes that game doesn't put in pay to convenience or pay to win items, you're like, oh my God, we've done it. Like, we built it, they will come. That is the
Here's the
kind of
thing, like from
perspective.
our perspective, that is what we want. Like me and Steven and the
Yes,
team, like all
yes,
of us want that. Like
yes,
we yearn for an MMORPG where we can just enjoy the systems and the gameplay, but also
absolutely.
live and like love the art like so much that we're like, we want to live there. I think at one point Steven was like, can we move
Yeah, I
there?
know, right? No, absolutely. And so,
Yeah.
so before we show this little video, you're going to see a preview of the Riverlands biome, and then we're going to have a 30-minute long dev chat, developer chat, where myself, our lead environment artist, our senior technical artist, one of our very amazingly talented environment artists, James as well. We chat about what goes into making seasons and weather. And weather has been done in a lot of games, right? We've experienced like, snow and rain and thunderstorms, and they're really cool, like breaking points between the norm in an environment you might have. But what the environment team has developed from a technology perspective, when it comes to these biomes, these environments, and how they permanently change, and how that change can be dynamic, and how it's affected by in-game systems, and how it changes the economy and the rotation of goods in the world, how it changes skill interactions, how it can affect many design-related things, is that synergy of looks and gameplay that we are striving to achieve. And this discussion today is going to be about the immersive looks of it. And we'll talk a little bit about how it interfaces with the systems, but really it's going to be to show you something that you probably haven't experienced before in an MMORPG to this quality and to this effect. So
And
that's
if
my
you
that's my
watched
preface.
our event stream yesterday, it feels like yesterday, last development update, we talked a little bit about how the weather and seasonal systems can interact with events and in-game gameplay. So if you didn't get to watch that, I recommend watching that after this stream, as another option for you over on our YouTube channel, because we do go way more into depth on that system as well. So
Yes.
without further ado, we'll play a little cinematic and we'll see you after that.
Oh, I am still getting goosebumps just
The
watching
first
it.
time this was played, not gonna lie, teared up. Like we
Oh,
got to see this like
yeah,
a couple
you were
months
here.
ago when we were watching it for our internal town hall,
It,
and
it,
it made a lot of people emotional. Like we were all
it is
crying.
it's chilling. It's chilling to
Yeah.
see just the quality. I mean, I don't play MMOs that look like this and that have these type of systems. So okay, next video we're gonna show
You get to
is
see the walkthrough of this. Like, yeah, sure,
yes, we're
cinematic is
about to.
beautiful. People can make cinematics look great, but like what you're gonna see
We
this like in game.
you're gonna go through in game right now, and you're gonna watch the walkthrough. Okay, just to preface, I have God controls when I am driving this. Okay, so I can access the console. I can rapidly change the weather. I can create seasonal changes. We speed up the transition so that you get to see what it looks like when the world transitions in these biomes from one season to another, and then when weather events occur and how those weather effects happen. So you're going to watch that for the next 33 minutes. I want to emphasize something very important. This is the tech that's servicing Alpha 2. And that means that there is still a ways to go from both a quality perspective, a performance perspective, and a detail perspective, right? It hasn't had polish really, and there is still so much more to do. If you've been following the project for a while now, you can go back, take a look at our early videos, and you can watch the progression of these things over time. But Alpha 2 is really going to be something else in how this system interfaces with other game systems, other mechanical components that you as players will experience as a result of these visual changes. They're a symbiotic kind of relationship. The art and design, they live together. You want to telegraph these events through more immersive means, such as weather systems and seasons, so that players are indicated in a very immersive way what they need to do to react. Do I need to go harvest my crops on my freehold because it's changing seasons soon, or because there's a weather event coming in? Are my skills and abilities going to be affected by how the weather is currently present? So keep that in mind as you're watching. This is still something that's building, but I think you guys are going to enjoy this. One other thing, we did also want to include you guys saw the VEC in the character creator. You saw the VEC from their concept. This is something we're going to be rolling out in the future as we get more of the races done for Alpha 2. We wanted to put the VEC in here as the character I was playing. The VEC is still getting implemented though in the game with some of the clothing sets and some of the armors. So that stuff's still getting touched up, be aware. But otherwise, I think you guys are going to enjoy this.
All right. And I know I did see someone say they would like to see the video in 4K. We will have the cinematic as well as this walkthrough or this chat, developer chat, over on our YouTube channel at max resolution. So if you want to go watch that
right after the stream,
yeah,
yes,
we will have it available.
See that 4K.
So without further ado, shall play it.
Enjoy.
Hello everyone and welcome to another update with Ashes of Creation, and today is going to be a special one. I am joined by three amazing artists. Our lead environment artist, Tristan Snodgrass. Hey Tristan, how you doing, buddy?
Hello, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Now is this your first recording, even though you've been with us since the beginning, 6 years ago almost, right?
Yeah, it's been since 2016. I don't think I've ever actually been on any of the live streams.
Outside of our studio tour, where I think we had one where you were a sriracha bottle.
Yeah.
For Halloween.
That's correct. Yeah, I've been mostly behind the scenes, behind all the cinematics. And
that's right. I think our community often asks where Nodes 3 is at Because one time, I remember we were at that panel at PAX, and people were like, "When's Node 3 coming out?" And I'm like, "Tristan's back at the studio, and he's editing it." So
yeah, I remember that, and I was like, "What's he done?"
That's so good. We decided to go a different direction.
No,
but
we'll have Nodes Part 4 here soon anyway.
there you go. We're just gonna skip 3.
Yeah.
And then we also have one of our technical artists, our senior technical artist, Mr. Brian Gans.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Stephen.
Welcome to the show, sir. This is also your first time.
It is.
Although you have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes as well, making our world look pretty and performant, and making sure artists have their tools that they need, all the fun stuff.
I'm all over the place in this game.
running back and forth between character, environment, everything. And then we also have one of our environment artists, Mr. James. Is it Kurowski? Kurowski, right?
Yeah, it's Kurowski. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, welcome aboard, buddy. And this is your first time as well.
It is my first time, yeah.
We have a whole new crew on the live stream. And this video is all about showcasing what everybody here is going to see here is something I don't recall having ever played a game where this is done. Have you guys ever played a game that has had these features we're about to see?
Not that I can recall, no. I mean, I can't even think of a single-player game that does this.
That's what I was trying to think of, too. I was trying to think of, like, a single-player game that had done this, and I'm sure our community is going to be like, oh, they had weather here or there. But this is more than weather, right?
Yeah, I think it's been done to a much lesser extent elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we pushed the envelope quite a bit here.
Yes,
Yeah.
and people actually, so viewing this video, people just saw on stream the teaser that kind of goes through and shows the cinematics in the engine, in the game for this area, right? So they already know there's some transitioning here, but it's really more than just a transition. It is actually a dynamic season tech that changes the state of the world across our biomes. And what biome are we in right now?
We are currently in the Riverlands biome, which is one of the primary focuses of Alpha 1.
Alpha 2.
Alpha 2.
Yeah, Alpha 2. Yeah, no, that's right. It's the largest biome in Alpha 2, right?
Correct, and it's going to be where like the main Kalar, Aelin portal exists. So
I'm looking at this snowy, wintry location, and even though we're in the Witherlands, it's weather and river. It's Witherlands. Even though we're in the Riverlands, that is one of the biomes that can experience kind of really traditional season change, like what we're accustomed to, right? That people are going to see across all 4 seasons.
yeah, I mean, this is kind of we decided to take this to the extremes. So extreme weather, everywhere from like harsh, snowy, blizzardy kind of environment feels to lush green landscapes. So we decided to tackle the hardest part first, which is making it very, very different between seasons.
Yeah, this is... Oh, by the way, I'm playing a Vec right now. Some of you saw the Vec in the character creator, but haven't seen it yet in-game. This guy is just wanting to experience the amazing, immersive world that you guys have created here. Okay, so we are in the Riverlands, and we are currently in the winter season. So we have, obviously, a couple things going on here. We have the landscape itself, the environment itself has changed, where there's no leaves that are on the trees, there's snow that's piling up on the rocks, the ground... go over what you have to do to transition a biome like the Riverlands into a winter season.
Whew. So it's the terrain materials, and there's many materials that get applied to the terrain, and each one, accepts snow at a different rate, a different intensity. And there's the assets that all get kind of the same material function that applies snow to the tops of them. There's the particle effect that moves with the player camera that handles both snow and rain and any kind of precipitation. There's the volume fog that just went away, as we saw, as it cleared up. The volumetric cloud in the sky has a material that needs to respond to season changes and weather changes. There's a wind actor. I could keep going for a while.
There's a lot. Suffice to say, there's a lot of stuff that goes into changing a region of the world into. Ooh, is that a little bit of thunder?
Oh. take a moment and just enjoy the view.
Oh, is this okay? So right now we're transitioning into like a storm, as well as the climate. This has been kind of sped up, right, to showcase the different season transitions.
Correct, yes. So right now we're getting some rain, which will usher in springtime, and so you'll see all the flora that's growing up right now out of the ground.
Oh,
Where did
my
the snow
gosh.
go?
Snow's gone.
Mm-hmm. No snow.
This is unbelievable. And now we've added some additional particle effects with the butterflies and the bees and the insects.
Yep.
And in addition, it's like all the leaves now have grown on. There's a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of flowers that are present. James, talk to me a little bit about kind of how you're determining the flowers that are appropriate for each season.
Yeah. So one of the hardest things for setting this up was essentially making 4 biomes in one every season, and we kind of started with Wales as like a reference point.
My home country.
Not Wales, but the country Wales.
Yeah.
Country
yeah.
Wales, correct.
Oh, I thought you were saying. Well, technically, both are relevant to you, Tristan, because not only are you our lead environment artist, but you also are a very avid professional environment film guy, right? I've seen some of your stuff; it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Outside of this kind of stuff, I tend to spend my time filming nature, so it's kind of appropriate.
How
side of it.
often do you give that to the environment team as reference material?
Not often yet, but I'll be visiting Wales next week, so I'll be
Nice.
taking plenty of photos for reference.
This is no joke. Tristan got right up into the eyeball of this giant whale.
was
It's staring right
crazy.
into the camera. That was so cool, dude.
That was very crazy. Okay, I've noticed
Yeah.
that the animals have changed. The ambient sound has changed, and Kat has done an amazing job with the ambience in the Riverlands biome. It is, I feel like I am here, and not only that, but also kept it adaptive for the seasonal changes as well, right?
Yeah. I think we also actually missed the winter bear back in the day, or back in the winters at biome, but that's okay. We'll see
There's
another
more.
one.
There's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winter
But
bear.
yeah, James, sorry, I think we kind of cut you off.
No, that's fair.
But
That's fine.
if you
That's
want to
fine.
continue talking about how you went about the art process for this.
Oh yeah, no, it's just iterative like all art is, and Hal, one of our really great environment artists, and myself kind of worked really closely together to try to homogenize everything for the seasons. And I don't know, there's not much else to say. I kind of can see it.
That's true.
Do the
Yeah.
flowers bloom at a particular time of year?
They do,
Ooh.
yeah. No, yeah, all the flowers will, decay and die in the fall and turn colors, and even the animals, like Kieran right there, will shift based on the time of the year.
Oh, I love the glow on the Kieran's antlers.
hmm Good job
Yeah,
on that,
That
Brian.
shows what Moody's in.
Oh, looks great.
Yeah, we'll
Now-
see that Kieran change in real time later on.
That's right.
Yeah.
So part of the relevance of this, not just from a beautiful aesthetic perspective here, but what makes it so unique is the dynamic element of these seasons and the weather systems changing to the behavior actions of the player, right? So part of the triggers that can create seasonal change is not just time related for each of our biomes, but they're also indicated by events that occur on the server, whether that be certain raid bosses forming or a relic being acquired by a particular node and being activated to change potentially the weather out of a winter state into a spring state. And the reason why a node might have interest in doing that, of course, is because weather and the seasons also affect skills and abilities. They affect crops and gatherables, vehicles and mounts, ships, creatures and loot tables change. Their behaviors might change. Resistances and weaknesses or synergies might be relevant in certain seasons or weather systems. Targeting might change. The AoE radius might grow for a fire effect if you're in the middle of summer, or it might shrink if you're in the middle of a storm. There's so much that goes into this system, and that's why you guys really spent a lot of time making sure that the environment reflects both at the quality we want and isn't just kind of an afterthought weather system, because a lot of games that I've played, you get just the visual effects kind of playing, and you get some rain or you get some snow, but what we've seen here in that transition from winter to spring was significant, and it persists. And each of these zones exist in these different states at different times across different servers. I saw those birds just fly by, and it scared the crap out of me. I was like, what was that?
You didn't expect that.
I did not.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the more traditional weather biomes, I guess you could say, in terms of seasons. But we will be taking things a little weird with some of the other biomes as well.
I think
Here
we're
you're going to
changing.
see, I think there's fall coming.
Yeah, it's shifting to fall.
Oh, I see the leaves starting to spawn. Oh my gosh. And the little dust devil. Oh, that looks great.
Oh boy.
Oh, I love it. Wow, look at the color
Yeah, the
change.
color. That's my favorite part about everything is just the colors.
It was really hard to nail down the color change, but I think we pulled it off.
That is
I
amazing.
think you guys more than pulled it off. Yeah, even internally, like when we showed a very early version of this to the entire company, it was maybe like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. There was
look
people
at
that were
that
like
tree.
crying practically.
Yeah, that I mean, I'm watching the updates every week, every day actually.
Yeah.
And I just keep getting like goosebumps watching this, thinking, and again, just to reiterate, these and I'm sure I've already said this on the stream, which is tomorrow, but these transitions are sped up in order to demonstrate, what that move for the world looks like. But ultimately, these seasons exist on a weekly basis, unless they're event driven or have other triggers, right? They might last longer if you don't deal with the dragon, or if you keep that relic active. But these on a cycle, on a cyclical perspective, as a normal season transition might be, exist within a 1 week time frame, right? And then it transitions over a period of hours. But right now you're seeing it sped up over the course of 30 seconds.
Yeah, correct. I mean, in real time, it's going to be almost unnoticeable to the naked eye, like kind of naturally how it is in real life. We're not going to do it over the course of a year, of course, but, a couple hours, maybe half a day.
Oh, is that a dragon?
Yeah, it is a dragon. You might want to take it.
Which boss
cautiously.
is that? Oh man, it's starting to snow.
Ice dragon?
But yeah,
Oh, look at
So-
I love that.
so the weather events will usher in the different seasons as well. So you'll know when the new season is going to change, just based on the weather that's happening. But to the naked eye, you're not really going to see it happening this quickly. Obviously, this is just a very visual demonstration of what's available and how we can work with it.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
There's the bears.
the bears.
Nice.
Oh, that guy's probably cold right now.
Yeah, he's out of here.
I love the dirty coat underneath the bear. It sells it so good.
Yeah, currently planning with weather to have like rain and snow be kind of a thing where it snows more often in the winter and rains more often in the winter in some other places, and basically leveraging some of the new features of Unreal Engine, like the being able to sample the global distance field in the material to be able to have the snow accumulate in the crevices of objects as as summer comes on and melts away the snow, it melts in the crevices last. Or if it starts to snow, then it kind of accumulates in the outer areas first and the crevices fill in later, kind of thing. So there's
Or even saturates the
Yeah.
earth while it melts.
right.
It's all soggy.
Oh, this looks great, and it looks like even the ground is getting wet. I can hear the footsteps change to the water. That's so good.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that makes a world come alive is not just
Did the wind pick up in the storm?
it did.
My hat is going crazy.
But yeah, like all the elements coming together really sell it. Like, you can take away one of the things and everything just kind of falls apart. Like no wind, the environment just doesn't feel alive. But, add some wind and suddenly everything comes to life.
Oh, this is beautiful, guys. Yeah, this is unbelievable. One of the things that is huge about this season system and how it affects crops and the gatherables in the game is the impact it will have on the economy, right? When a particular area no longer is capable for a week's period of time or even potentially longer of producing a certain type of crop or harvestable, and that has to change across the world regionally, now the transit system of those materials, of those gatherables, they become more relevant and they're subject to potential risk, and the prices might go up in certain areas. It is something that is actually very instrumental in the overall design of the economy in the game. Speaking of economy, are those two merchant ships?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Like maybe the strait opens up and suddenly they're able to transport goods a little faster.
Right.
We're playing with the idea of freezing over rivers and things, but
Yeah.
the implications, it opens up a lot of can of worms. Like someone could get trapped under the ice, but we'll figure it out if it's possible.
I think you should trap them.
Yeah. or even also something that's very easily done that we've talked about since 2017, and such a big component of this system coming to life and seeing it at the quality bar that it's at. I mean, like, again, I say this, I haven't seen this really in any other game, let alone MMORPG, where seasons impact so much of the design. And part of that also, again, on the economy front, is you might have a mountain pass, and during winter that mountain pass is always closed, and so the trade routes on land change with caravans, and that's something that can not only exist on a cyclical level but also dynamically based on player activity. I mean, that is a very big difference. Can I play with the wind? Can I help those ships out a little bit?
Yeah, I mean,
believe so.
we definitely gave Steven some God mode controls here to demonstrate some more of the systems in a more dynamic, real-time way. As he ushers in some
Let there
thunder.
be rain! Look at this. This is great. I love how the distance visibility changes and the night, the kind of overhead cast comes online.
Yep.
You're gonna sink the boats with all that water.
I know. Oh, yeah, I forgot. My bad, guys.
Oh, no, it's good. They needed the fresh water anyway, so.
Oh, can I play? Let me dial up the wind a little bit. Make it a little
Yeah.
bit crazier. Oh, I love the grass movement. This is crazy. Look at my hair, or my hat is going wild. I love the cloth physics, too.
When the rain dies down and the sun hits the grass when it's windy, it looks really cool.
Let me
Probably
do
didn't
that.
even
I'd be happy with that.
I have some God controls that they gave me for this demonstration. So let me turn the rain off.
Yep.
And turn on maybe the wind by itself.
There you go.
Oh, look at the wave movement across the grass. How did you get that to occur?
So there's a noise function that we've got in both materials and in blueprints, so that eventually later it needs to be converted to C++ because it's like 300 times faster when it goes into C++. But basically the same function is duplicated in two places. So we have it in the materials that generates the noise in ripples that goes across the player, and in the CPU side of things, the value of the wind at the player location gets sent to the audio system. So the wind picks up in audio as a wave of snow, or a wave of wind passes by the player.
I'm going through the seasons like that.
Oh,
I just
boy.
did a quick transition for the audience to see how much control I have right now.
Yeah, so we gave Steven a sped up timeline of the ability to forward and also reverse seasons if you want to, get a little crazy with it. But
Oh yeah, I see that.
so you can go from,
Now I can pause it.
yep.
Ooh, I love the winter feel. Let me
should
put some
check
snow.
out-
Let me put some snow on.
Yeah.
Wait
Yeah.
for it.
Let's see some snow.
Oh yeah. Oh, again, look at that. I love the fog, and the effects now start kicking off the ground.
Oh yeah. So everything's built into this system, and with the sense that they can change dynamically. You're not going to get that gust of wind in certain locations when it's summer, but when it's winter, it kicks in.
Oh, we should watch this Kieran real
Oh.
quick. Can we do that?
So go to the ones, actually turn around and
Oh,
just
yeah?
get the view in the background. I think.
Yeah, that's
Follow
a good,
some
good
of the
call.
ones down
Good
there.
call. Let me go see these
couple of
guys.
Hopefully they play
Hello,
nice.
Kieran. Come here, little friends.
There they are.
All right, I need you guys in the shot. I need you guys to step over here. Hey, can you move to the left, please?
We need a feeding system where you can just walk up and hold out your hand.
Or some
and,
type of
they come and
husbandry where I can make
eat.
my own.
Oh, that's right.
There we go. He listened. It just took him a second.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let me grab
Chintzy did a
this.
great job on those guys.
Grab
Oh,
this
yeah.
shot. All
Yeah,
right,
these
here
are
we go.
fantastic models.
Watch the Kieran change. Oh, look at them. They change
Nice.
with the seasons.
That was fun for me to figure out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that looks
Looks good.
so good, James.
And see, like, you know, in our original cinematic that I believe we've shown, or we will be showing during the live stream, like where we, you know, talked about seasons in our Kickstarter.
Yes.
Those were just dissolves between environments that we did in post-production, and I'm sure people think we're doing the same thing in our new cinematic, but, you know, no, it's actually happening real time. There's no trickery, no fakery. It's all
Yeah, this is all
authentic.
beautiful and authentic. I love it. Let me.
This is the major leagues now.
Heck yeah. I love it. Okay, tell me a little bit about the weather effects. And I know that the effects team isn't here right now, but we might be getting some insight to their work next month, maybe on stream. We'll see. But you also have the effects interacting with the environment. Like I was seeing some streams of rain that was coming down that Adrian did some work on some of the portcullises.
Yeah, there's individual particle effects that can be placed on some of these assets that kind of responds to changes in weather that look like, you know, rain collecting in areas or like sheeting off of flat surfaces. If you go underneath like a tunnel or something, you see it dripping more intensely. I think we'll have a tool to auto place that, but worst case, we can have it be hand placed.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Same
love
thing with
that.
the dust devils, the butterflies, the bees.
The leaves, they kick butt.
Playing with this wind a little bit. I love the tree movement too. You know, it's so funny. In a lot of the games that I played, the wind effects can either look really, really good, or they can look really, really bad, and usually not much in between. But I like how our trees, you have this variance in movement from the trunk itself to the leaves. How do you guys do that?
We actually had to home roll our own solution. So the trees were made in a program called SpeedTree, and we had a little bit of trouble getting the SpeedTree nodes and the materials for the trees to function correctly. So we just made our own version of Wind for now. But yeah, we just kind of take the tree position, and a lot of information about the tree is encoded to the UV coordinates. There's about 7 or 8 UV coordinate spaces. And each one has, like, you know, is it a leaf? Is it a frond or branch? How far down the branch is it? And we just use that data to drive a bunch of rotations. Some of the information encoded in the UV coordinates is what's the pivot point of this branch. So I just kind of rotate around that branch.
Yeah, that looks great. That looks really cool. I love that. And then another thing we're talking about was having like wetness effects and snow pile up on, you know, rocks and buildings and stuff.
That's one thing we're doing for wetness of the terrain. If you look at the dirt path, as it gets wetter, and I'm not sure how visible this is because it also gets cloudy and dark, and maybe they can stream compression, but as it gets wet, we use the height element of the terrain materials to figure out where puddles should form. And you should be able to see it. It doesn't do it so much on a slope, so it might look more visible on a flat terrain.
There we go, right here. I see it
But
there.
yeah, at the lower areas of the terrain height, it gets kind of glossy like puddles.
Oh, that looks great.
And a similar thing for snow.
There we
As
go.
the snow is melting, it evaporates, or it is removed from the areas of where there's high material ambient occlusion. It removes it from the high ambient occlusion places last.
Very cool. That's amazing. Let me switch to snow. I wanna talk a little bit about the building thing here. Hold on.
Yeah, so I was going to say we also had our other artists working on some modular sets and various things that we can use to construct a lot of the ancient ruins of the Ayla race that were once here in Vera before the how would you describe it, the event where everyone left?
The Exodus, the apocalypse,
The Exodus,
the
that's right.
end of the world.
Yep. Wait,
Yeah.
hold on.
Wait a minute. What is this? Oh, this is an
Eyesall.
example of like obstructions.
Yeah, so and then design, you might not be able to access certain areas in
Wait a
location, but
minute.
there's something there.
Open. Open for me. I command you.
You might want
Can they?
to.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Abracadabra.
Yes, melt. Oh, there's a
Oh, boy.
door. Why is it
What
so
is going on?
bright in there?
I don't know.
What is going on? Wait a minute.
It's like
I don't even know if I want to go in there, to be fair.
Hold on. You might have to change the weather here. We might need to.
Wait. Reveal yourself, Snow. I command you to stop. I feel like there is something.
Sometimes during certain seasons.
What
you
is
might-
that? Oh,
Oh, no.
oh my
What
god.
is it?
Oh, it's a sandal.
what is Spider-Man?
Yes. That is so awesome. Who did put that in there?
Yeah, that was done by our amazing artist Hal. She
Oh,
cranked
Hal.
that out real quick for you with a nice little inscribed S there.
That is so cool. Oh, that is Steven's sandal. I
I'm pretty
found
sure we're gonna auction off like your sandals at
I
some point.
found I found my sandal. But
You
wait,
actually
to be
gotta
fair,
find
it's
the other one.
missing. Oh, is there another one?
There's two. The sandals come in pairs, so
Wait a minute.
I
You should
assume
try
there's a second
some mantling. and
Where
find
is
the
this?
seller.
Where is this other? Oh, can I? Is this like a little
Yeah,
Maybe.
jump puzzle?
little jump puzzle for you.
Little jump puzzle. All right, let's see if I can do this. Wah! Let me up. Let me up, sir.
It's just a bit of parkour, so
Oh,
yeah.
there we go. Okay. Do I like jump across this way?
Oh no, I think it's your left there. You can get it either way. There's always.
Oh my
Oh.
God! Oh, just barely.
Small heart attack.
Skin of my teeth. Let me up here. Oh, there's stairs. It's dark. I can't see.
Oh, it is a little darker now. but
Ooh.
It's getting
There we
lighter.
go. Okay.
Lumen's kicking
I
in.
found it. I think I have found it.
Ah, there you
Ah! My other sandal.
go. Collector's editions.
Yes. Oh, I love it. That is so cool. That is awesome. Well, I have to say, back when we talked about seasonal changes and weather systems and all of these things being interconnected with design elements and systems in the game, I remember that we showed off the kind of, very early prototyping that we were doing back in like 2017. And we probably actually just showed that on the stream, lol. But
Yep.
I never thought that it would come to this level of quality.
Yeah, in fact, when I first kind of faked this kind of seasonal tech back before the Kickstarter even happened, I think I was a little intimidated myself. But,
Right. Yeah, the prototype that we did, like there were significant challenges of making that possible. But this is next level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big shout out to James and Hal and Brian for cranking out all the biome stuff, and then Brandon and Adam for cranking out these amazing ruins.
And Scott for the new trees too.
Scott Allen, our new foliage go-to guy, is the one that cranked out some of these pretty epic, is that the ash trees?
Yes, those big
Also-
ash trees.
Don't
Our
mind
new,
my god powers. I have god powers. This is not powers you will have, players. This is just what I can do.
And also, not to forget, Hans, our new landscape master. He took a swing at this landscape for us and did us some of the epic views. So, all around, an amazing job by everybody.
Yeah, we were all pretty intimidated when we were having the initial meetings to start working on this, but everyone pulled together and
Yeah, you guys really are a dynamite team.
You guys have done a phenomenal job. I think the community will let you hear this in chat, that this is a next level presentation for seasons and weather and for an environment, really, and an MMO that I've ever seen.
And not to forget, of course, that's not just us, but also, the entire effects team, our new audio artist,
Yes.
Kat, and, the character team for getting that cloth physics and all the other goodness going. So,
And this is a work in progress still. This is nowhere near complete. This is actually still the great thing about our development that I personally love is that we invite the community to watch, right? And over the years, they can go back and they can look on our YouTube and they can see the quality of art continue to improve over time, right? And that's the cool thing about art is that it's never really finished. Like there is always elements you will be tweaking and you will be touching up and you will be taking second, third, fourth, 10th passes on, even as the game launches and we go through expansions. Like, these are things that art continually to improves upon, uses new technologies for. I mean, you guys are the masters of the visuals here.
Yeah. My
Yeah,
favorite thing is, go ahead, Tristan.
Go ahead. No.
Okay. So like, many heads are better than one. A lot of people are going to see this and they're going to be like, wow, this one looks great, but it could be maybe slightly better in this area. They'll have a screenshot or video to show us, or something, a different way to look at it. And we just leverage the hive mind of all of humanity when we're doing this. And we're just getting the best of everything. It's
The
really good.
hive mind. I like that.
Hive mind.
That's very cool. Well, we are going to go back to stream, but everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this video, you enjoyed this presentation. The best is still yet to come because this is stuff that we are constantly working on, as we said, and we have some amazing artists at Intrepid, and by the way, we are hiring, so if you have any favorite devs or projects out there that you know of, please send them our way, intrepidstudios.com. I cannot express enough just how excited I am to live inside of Vera, and I think that our community is chomping at the bits to live there with me, and all of us. It is. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I mean, we could probably just sit here and let this run for 10 hours straight and put it
we
on
should
YouTube
totally do that.
and monetize it or something like that.
Monetize it? What?
Oh, geez, just
Tristan!
Those 10-hour like ambient loops.
Oh my gosh, that
but-
is hilarious.
We were talking about it today, how we like just left this running yesterday after one of our tests, and we came back to the conference room and it was still running and it was still windy and it was perfect. It was just like, oh wow, it's still alive and running.
I
Absolutely.
constantly get distracted by.
Just staring.
I'm just. Oh yeah, I should be working.
It's actually kind of it's calming and great to just when you're working just sit there and stare at it for 5 minutes.
It
I
really is.
literally have this exact scene on my computer desktop right now, just running.
Who needs to go outside when you can go to Vera?
Absolutely. Love it. All right, guys. We are going to see you guys back on stream. Tristan, James, Brian, thanks for hanging out with me and explaining your really cool, amazing job at making Vera a place that we all want to live in. I cannot express enough how much I appreciate the work that you guys do to making this dream a reality and how much our community loves it as well. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for all your hard work. Stream, give us hearts for Tristan, Brian, and James and all of the team on the environment side, on the art side, everybody at Intrepid. We're working a way to make this stream a reality. I will see you guys back on stream shortly.
All right, see you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I'm not crying.
I
You're
know the hearts make me emotional too. You guys are so sweet. The teamwork.
Very, very hard. There are a lot of hard work is going into Ashes, and very proud of the team from the start of this year. I think you guys are in for a treat for what's to come, and it is our pleasure to do this hard work for you guys because at the end of the day, that's why we're here, right? So we appreciate you guys tuning in and giving us your hearts and giving us your feedback and being a part of this development journey. It's been a long journey and there's still a ways to go, but at the end of the road, there is going to be something that I think is pretty special. And you guys get to see it every step of the way. So kudos to everybody on the team. Intrepid, you guys, I know you're having a little watch party in the rec room.
We love you.
John got some pastries and some cookies for you guys. Hopefully they didn't all get snagged up too fast, but you see this community and how impressed they are with the work you're all doing. Very,
And-
very, very exciting.
I mean, we all get to play it too, so that's that's our reward as much as their reward. But there were some questions in chat that I wanted to
Sure.
get answers on. Some of them we might not have answers right now, but I'm tossing them Steven's way. We'll see if
All right.
we can.
If I don't have an answer, I'll just tell you I don't have an answer. Not yet, but
All
we'll-
right. The first one here is from Julian Ake, and I apologize in advance if I get your names wrong. They asked, will the vegetation spawn be static or will it look different after every iteration? So like as seasons change, will those vegetation
Yeah, it's
Sounds to be
possible. We can get clarification on this afterwards, but I believe that from the environment side, it's possible that we unmask certain vegetations on certain cycles of seasons, right? And that way we get a little bit of a variance. but ultimately they need to be placed, right? These aren't dynamically or procedurally
Yeah, and I think that's the
spawned.
other element of it is like if the mushroom spawns here every spring, is it going to spawn in that same spot? Is kind of what they were going
Right.
for.
No, you could have a few spots that only activate during certain cycles, and that way you could get some variance, but they won't be procedurally spawned, right? They will be painted by the artists.
Okay, and then the next one is from Eris PDX, and they want to know, does it also affect node resources? So let's say, you have veins or something like that, or you have trees that spawn and now it's changing. Is it going to affect what kind of resources I'm gathering?
Absolutely. So it won't likely affect too much on certain resource spectrums like veins of ore, right? Those might not be might not be affected by the seasons or weather systems, but there might be blockages to cave networks that house those types of ore veins. Alternatively, it is going to be significant impact on any type of herbology or plant-based types of gatherables. It's going to have significant impacts on crops that players can plant themselves on their properties and that they'll be able to harvest. They're going to need to time the crop placement and its maturity window so that it's harvestable and available to be harvested before the change of seasons that might adversely affect certain types of crops. And not every biome will experience the same type of effects caused by the seasonality of the world, right? Like the desert biome might, instead of snow, have significant more winds that pick up that could be damaging to more fragile types of crops if you have a freehold in that location. These are the impacts that they have on the system. And the reason for that is because as crops change, as those resources become less available in certain regions of the world based on the seasons, you're going to place a demand on other regions to bring those goods via caravan to your locations. Why? Because the prices might sell there higher. And that's going to naturally incentivize those providers to bring their supply to this location so they can get a higher return on their work. Now, of course, that carries risk, and that's partly why that value goes up, is because they're assuming that risk in moving those goods over. And it creates a very interesting dynamic in fluctuation for the economy, and relevance that certain sectors can't be entirely controlled by just one individual.
I was telling Steven, I was like, I want to build my freehold there and I want to be out there farming and watering my plants. I was like, I can envision it now. Um,
Yes,
our next question is from Magic03, and they want to know, will there be animals that are more likely to come out through the different seasons, or like will animals
absolutely.
hibernate, things like that?
Yeah, one of the things that the excuse me, one of the things that the season and weather techs provide is a trigger effect for the spawners within a particular area. They tell those spawners to spawn different types of creatures that are more appropriate for certain seasons, not to spawn certain creatures or to spawn them in different locations, like the bear in the cave during winter or during autumn. That gives a little bit of replayability to these areas within MMORPGs. A very common trend that many of us have experienced is zones that die because either the level relevancy changes as you progress, or it is not the new zone, right? We go to the new zone. Um, we already addressed some of the level composition stuff by the way nodes affect your surroundings and the spawners and advance some of the creature types, right? But on the flip side of this, it also gives different strategic importance to certain locations based on how the spawners populate those areas, right? This alcove might now have a bunch of new types of monsters that are like AoE focused, and you might want to bring your AoE team there during winter because you can get that spot in this hunting ground and you can pull really easily all the creatures into that little spot. But in summer, maybe that population isn't as close and it's no longer a viable hunting ground. It gives a little bit of change feeling to zones. And that's why I said this is, to my knowledge, at least what I've played, really never been done in MMOs before. And I think MMOs being a persistent virtual world where you exist at all times, it's nice to have a little bit of dynamicism there, right? To have
Yeah.
something that changes.
Well, the permanency of the change of the effects that you have on the world is not something that you see very often. A lot of it is very much like a theme park where you go and like there are things that are there and they change, but like, and you can change actions to make those things happen, but they're not necessarily in the same way that we're implementing them. A follow-up question someone else had that is kind of pertinent to that question is from Mr. Silver, and they want Mr. Silver 31. They want to know, does this allow for like herding of creatures? So let's say there are deer, but maybe in this other biome there aren't deer. Can I herd deer into that area? And now
No.
there are,
No, you can't really herd NPCs like that.
because the
We do
zone stuff,
have, yeah, I mean, we have leashes are relevant. There's other gameplay implications that happen when you're able to actually move populations around. We don't want to really give that to the player's perspective there. But with that being said, we do have the concept of herds. And that's a little bit of a different gameplay system. So that again goes back to resources and gatherables. Herds are a source of certain types of wild gatherables, but they're in animal form and they're animated, right? And they exist in like, a group of the golden fleece sheep that might only spawn very rarely in certain hillsides, right? And only during spring. And if you can find that vein, so to speak, of resource, you can interact with the herd and you can gather from them. And you can, process some other things. So herds exist in that sense, but not in what they were describing, where you can actually manipulate the population movement of the world.
And then the next question here, we're almost wrapping up here, was from Pandioka. Wanted to know, is the grass going to move out of the way or like look like it is stepped on? So for instance,
There will
if
be
I
player-
land there or rush in, will the grass move with my momentum?
I don't think we'll do that on the grass, the blades of grass, but I don't know. I might be wrong on that. I'll chat with environment on it, but there will, however, be player collision capsules that do interact with plants. So like as you move through a plant, you're not just going to go straight through the plant. Like it will move around on the client for you. Like you'll see that plant move because you intersected with it and passed through it. So there's collision with foliage there, but I'm not sure if it's going to be as granular on blades of grass. We do have footprints and footsteps, right? And those you can see even in the video. You can see them on the dirt surfaces. You can see them on the snow surfaces. Yeah.
And then the next question is from Jawa Chief, and they wanted to know, can we get snow effects on our armor in the winter? Because I think they noticed that the bear had snow on him and he shook it off, and people were really excited about that.
We were talking about that early on. There are some performance implications when we try to show weather effects on individual armors, because you can upwards have hundreds of players on your screen. And of course we can call that and we can do some performance checks on that, but I'm not sure that's something we're going to go down the path of. I know that there are a couple very eager graphics engineers on our team that are wanting to talk me into that. And we've had yet to go through their proposal review.
Definitely performance.
So, yeah, I know.
could be performance.
Performance is paramount. We already are leveraging a lot of very next generation technology with our application of Unreal Engine 5, which by the way is a great engine, and Epic is an incredible company.
Well, people are saying, well, what about if it was just client side, like only on the client side versus like server side?
You can totally do it, but then there's rendering cost, right? And if you're seeing many players with that, I mean, obviously it's something you can scale. You have scalability for, but again, it's not an easy amount of work to do to make that happen.
All right, and my last one here is a little troll. Is it true that you have 2 right feet?
No, it is not true that I have 2 right feet.
It's trolling.
Yeah.
I had to throw that one in. Just the chat was cracking me up. I'm like, you can't run past anything for them. They notice all the little details that those were 2 right foot sandals. The next thing, and environment team's not done. They have more stuff for you. The next thing I'm going to show you, and I don't know if you want to preface a little bit about the Aelin City.
I don't even know what we're seeing.
The Aelin City stuff?
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is, now you'll be seeing more as we get closer to Alpha 2, but this will give you a little bit of insight to the capital city of the Aelin Empire prior to the Exodus. And this is one of the starting areas that players enter into. This will be one of the starting areas in Alpha 2. And there's a lot of stuff going on here.
It's like waterfalls, statues, bridges, like bridges that ships can come into, like a harbor. It's madness.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful. I'm excited. And of course, moving on from there, we do have some stuff to show off from our team as well. So I'll toss us over
And
there.
by the way, I just want to say something. Back in, when did we do the character creator demo? Was that January or was that February? February. So
time is
that
going
that
together.
at that time I said,
Much.
look, one of the great benefits towards our trek to Alpha 2 is you get to start seeing Art do a lot more passes on the stuff that we got stood up very quickly or in the early days of the project. And I told you that from a quality bar perspective, this is getting near, what we would be comfortable with on a shipping perspective for the project when we launch, right? And when you see concept art like that city, I just want you to imagine the quality bar we've set for the characters with the character creator, the quality bar you just saw for environments and weathers and seasons that are present in the game. And now expand that out across the cities that you've experienced in other MMOs and the points of interest and the dungeons. And, we of course we don't want to reveal all the magic of the game through our development updates. We want to give you updates that, keep you abreast of kind of progress and what we're trying to do. But there's going to be a lot of discovering and adventure that's in Ashes of Creation, and it's going to be at a quality level that I think is going to blow a lot of people's minds.
And we'll show some little teasers of, dungeon crawls. Maybe not all of them, but some of them, so you can see. But stay tuned. We got plenty more for you all to look at. And of course, this is the Kieran. You saw them. This is one of Jincy's amazing creations. This is the summer and winter versions, and you got to see that transition like live in game, which is just mind-boggling and awesome. I feel like the chat lost their marbles during that. But I do have a joke for you, Steven. This comes to you from Mike Vecchio,
I'm ready.
our graphics
Uh-oh.
designer.
Oh no.
He says, "Why is she named Kieran?"
Why is she named Kieran? I don't know.
Does she ask to speak to your manager?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. It's too funny. I was like, I'm sharing that with Steven because it's too funny. Next up, we've got, and I feel the chat would love it. The next one we have is from Eli, the cloak of the seaside ma. Our social media manager's like, Mike, yelling at him in chat.
We should have a meme that's like, don't be a Kieran at the top. And then under it is just the face of the Kieran, like looking at you.
But the Kieran's so cool.
I know, it is cool.
It's like the opposite. I don't know. But yeah, this is the Seaside Ma goodness. And I believe we have a turntable for this. I'll let some of these. Look at the detail on the fish and this seaweed. It's so sick.
Yeah, it is very cool. The detail, of course, on these is next level. Love it.
Yeah. Can you imagine fishing? You got this on your back.
I can imagine accidentally getting knocked down, and when I land on my back, like the vertebrae stabs through my skin or something.
Dark.
Yeah,
But,
it's like
I feel you.
that's a dangerous coat to wear, dangerous cloak to wear.
Or the front. The front.
And the
like-
front has this,
yeah.
the horns or the teeth. What if I like accidentally tripped and I fell forward and the teeth like pierced my jugular?
This is where Steven's mind goes.
Sorry.
The next
I'm just
one
trying to think why I would wear this. No, I'm just kidding.
The next one we have is their royalty outfit. We had a lot of questions regarding this, so here you go. This is another one that Eli worked on, which looks amazing. Got some close-up shots, and then I do have a turntable of it as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I like the back piece for her. But again, if she falls.
I'm more concerned about her shoulders piercing someone else.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's a defensive weapon.
There you go. And then from the one and only Keith, we have Forest Druid action, which you get to kind of see this being created and modeled, and then all the textures. And then I do have
Oh
a
yeah, this
turntable of
guy's
it.
creepy. I like him. You may see him in a forest near you if you don't respect the area.
Ooh, can you give us a little bit
Ooh.
more design details, or
Oh,
we-
I don't know.
are
I'm just
shushing?
saying.
Okay.
He is a shepherd of the woods. Yes, very cool.
and then these are kind of the different variants that you can see.
Oh, he doesn't have any clothes on there.
And the one, yeah, he's naked.
We should have
Little-
given him some like underwear.
He's a little naked.
Little Nike. He's ready for nodes 3.
What?
There was a joke in the community where they would say send nudes. or
Oh,
nodes.
the
It says
nudes
send
for the no.
nudes.
Okay, that went over my head for a
Yeah.
moment. I got you. That makes 100% now.
Very
makes
cool.
100%
Love the
sense.
emissives on the staff.
So
Oh, that's gonna look
sick.
great in the level lighting
In the
when
little
it's dusk or dawn, and you just see this like approaching moat staff. It's like glowing.
Yeah, and like the little incense thing, like light, like making like a slight, movement in the forest. Be cool. All right. And with that, we shall move on to our final Q&A here, and then we'll be wrapping it up. So for our forum questions, we've got our first one is from Lash, which is regarding PvP. I'm gonna forward this video a little bit more. But their question is, will PvP activities with deactivated death penalties reward players with any experience points?
Yes, there will be a diminishing return on that experience point over a period of time, but you can gain experience through participating in PvP events.
And then Talents wants to know about combat. In terms of combat, what changes are you discussing or implementing internally that will make combat in Alpha 2 different from the combat in Alpha 1? And I know this is a lot, but
Yeah, that
maybe
is
you could give us 5
question.
things that are going to be different, or 2.
Um,
Slim it down.
Additional archetypes, significant additional ability support from a functionality perspective, augment systems we'll be playing around with. We are implementing our new prototyped root motion / split body approach to basic weapon attacks. And then on top of that, the just sheer expansive itemization table that's going to be available in Alpha 2 that wasn't in Alpha 1.
Ooh, got it.
But there's
Give
a
him-
lot.
And there's more than that. He's just given us quick rundown. Then we have Drunk Ninja, who wants to know about naval combat. Hopefully you're not drinking and driving your boat at the same time. When it comes to your systems for ship hijacking, how can we take control of another player's ship? And do we get to keep that ship? Ooh, look at that.
I
You were
don't
like-
want to. I know I don't want to actually expand on this too much because I think this is going to be great material for the future. But essentially, to answer your question, yes, there will be lots of things.
Yes to both questions. Yes to hijacking. Yes to you get to keep the ship.
Oh, you can't keep the ship.
Okay,
No.
there you
You
go.
can destroy the ship, but
Look,
you
I
can
just wanted to
hijack the
clarify.
ship. Yeah, you can't keep the ship. That'd be crazy. Like some GTA naval fantasy game.
Yeah, you just like punch him off the board, and then you're like,
Boom,
"Not now."
some game. Yeah, let's get a Sea of Thieves mod. That's like GTA version.
Dude, Sea of
Anyways,
Thieves is so good.
I know.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. You guys are great. But yeah, you can definitely steal ships and destroy them and then take what they had on them.
Okay. The next question is about day and night cycles from Alacrit. They want to know, with Varen year cycles being every 4 IRL weeks and 1 Varen hour being 15 IRL minutes, they're getting very specific here. Will there be 4 Varen day cycles within 1 IRL day? And I don't even know if we're going to stick to those numbers.
I was going to say, so those numbers are from a while ago. They may change a little bit. I'm not going to say they're going to change drastically, but they'll be around kind of that area, 1 to 2 weeks per season. The idea is for it to be a change that is also harmonious with what the shoot, I can't think, harvestables and crops mechanics are. So we want there to be a relatively cyclical influence on the in-game material market economy. That is going to be indicated by how seasons interact with crops and harvestables, and also wild gatherables.
And this question is very relevant. It's from Nelson regarding weather system. What, if any, effects will biomes and the change in weather have on dungeons, raids, and other non-instance events, as well as their
Very interesting.
loot? Will their loot change?
So weather events can affect skills and abilities. So that's something that we're going to be playing with. It might be present in Alpha 2, the actual effects on the abilities, or it might not. But that's one component. Second component, it might restrict access to a particular area, so that that raid hall might not be available during winter unless something is done, right? It might also affect the mechanics of the boss, what types of behavior trees and skills and abilities it favors in one season over another. And that could add a little bit of dynamicism to the encounter, so that it might be a variable encounter mechanics based on the time you do the encounter. And those variable encounter mechanics might service one raid composition or another. So in that sense, yes, it could affect those things as well,
All right.
but not probably the loot tables. Loot table is going to be predicated upon the monster type you kill, and then the monster type is predicated upon the time of season potentially, or the advancement of story arcs and notes.
Solid. The next one is from Azahir, and they want to know about family summoning. Can a corrupted player use the family summon system to call their family? Or
Not
will
going
there
to
be
comment
some-
on that yet. Again, this is something in the past that I've had ideas about, and there's a reason for those types of systems to exist. But at the same time, Ashes of Creation is very dependent on movement across the world, and limiting that movement, because we've experienced problems with that as players in the past, games that are highly teleporty.
Yeah.
And so, it's something we're going to test. We have a few ideas. We're probably going to prototype those out as part of Alpha 2 Focus Group them a little bit, and see how it changes the state of player behavior.
All right. And then we've got a combat question from Sorf. How will ground target spells like the Cleric Hollowed Ground work underwater? With no ground to put the spell on?
That's a good question, actually. We had some prototyping that I believe we did a few months ago, perhaps. I might be wrong on that, on the design team, and thoughts about how to use template-based abilities that might be normally telegraphed with a decal system on top of, terrain or whatever, in 3D space combat like water or air. There's a few things that can be done on that front. You can have a scrollable wheel and the 3D space for the template effect that lives. That's a little bit cumbersome because you would have to, scroll your mouse dial back. So not sure if that one is a good one, but we have a few other ideas as well that we're going to be prototyping for underwater combat. And of course it would apply to in-air combat as well.
So still underway on the decision for that. And then Thruther wants to know about caravans. When a player goes to hire NPC mercenaries, do they hire generic NPC titles like warrior, archer, mage, get a random assortment of NPCs, or archetyped NPCs like summoner, cleric, etc.?
Yeah, we were talking about with the caravansary building, having upgrade paths, or at the barracks having upgrade paths for the node to invest into that gives greater selection of roles that you can hire for your caravan, or for quality of items that the guards who come as mercenaries might have available to them.
It'd be cool if they were actually NPCs like Chad the warrior, and he's won 2 championships and he costs more.
We'd call those heroes, right? Those would be hero mercenaries.
Got
And hero mercenaries would be the top of the unlock path. So you might start out with a warrior, or an adept. And when you invest more into your barracks through construction materials, taxation, and upgrade paths that the mayor and the citizens participate in, you unlock additional higher levels and more specific classes and roles. And then once you have unlocked the height of that path, you might gain access to things like heroes, who are named people that would only be available for certain caravans, right? So it's first come, first serve. If you're going to launch a caravan and that hero is available for that caravan, you'll get them for X amount of time, and then they'll become available again. Anyways, spitballing just kind of the ideas that we've had in the past about this system. Of course, as you guys always know, everything we talk about here is from a development perspective and is subject to change. But there's a lot of fun stuff that we can do with upgrades and building types in these caravans. It's really cool.
Awesome. And then Nick wants to know about enchanting. And their question is enchanting itself an artisan profession or something else entirely?
Enchanting is not an artisan profession. No, it is created by a few different professions participate in the creation of enchantment scrolls. Those enchantment scrolls are primarily going to be interfaced on the profession side with Scribe. But once that scroll is created, then it's in the hands of the open economy, and players may utilize them to enchant weapons and stuff.
All right, and Golid wants to know about boss fights. This is our final question. How challenging will raid boss mechanics be given that players may need to simultaneously fight other players while also fighting the boss?
It depends. So the great thing about our encounter system is that it has a wide scalability. From encounters that some might consider easy given their composition, to encounters that some might consider impossible until they get their gear level to a certain stage. The level of interaction with other players is really predicated on the encounter itself. We may have some encounters that are in instances, although the predominant portion of those will be in the open world, in which case they do have the potential of being contested. And these encounters, especially the big ones that might land in contention land, are giving some of the best in slot gear you can get in the game. So it's important that they are contested, because it is a significant victory point. And one of our core pillars is risk versus reward. And the higher that risk, the higher that reward should be. So, those two things seem fitting. And then in addition, we do have the concept of winners and losers. Not everybody in Ashes of Creation is going to be a winner. And that sucks if you're not, I guess, but there is opportunity for you to continue to excel and become one, right? But it gives much more meaning to an achievement when not everybody gets the achievement. That's our philosophy.
I mean, we have a lot of systems in place that, rotate out, and only a couple people or a few people can have those roles, which is exciting. All right. And with that, that's all. That's it. That's a wrap.
Oh my God. I felt like
know.
after the show or the movie that we showed, we should have just dropped the mic and ended the stream. But
People were like, just end the stream there.
Just end the stream. Yeah, that's good.
But we still had some other cool things to share with you all. And of course, we want to answer some of your burning questions that you have. If your question did not get answered, our community team, Cody and Rye, are amazing. They go through every single question and give answers to ones that we have already answered, as well as if your question didn't get picked, they will let you know, like, hey, submit this for next month's stream and maybe you'll get chosen for that. So we really appreciate all their hard work in regards to that. And of course, if you haven't gone over and left us feedback on RNG and what kind of RNG systems you like and don't like, what you'd like to see in Ashes of Creation, what you'd like to not see, please go over to our forums and give us a little feedback in that thread. We will be wrapping up that and getting that over to the development team shortly as well. So get them in while you can, and we'll have more of those coming down the line as we go. I believe we had a little discussion regarding enchanting, and it's gotten so crazy that now we're like, well, we're going to put together a report possibly for that as well for our team.
Nice.
And of course, something that we're just like, we're going to chat for fun turned into like, you know what, this is actually solid feedback for the design team. We're going to send it over. And of course, we do have our Windswept Wonders cosmetics if you'd like to grab those and help us build the world of Ashes of Creation. Every single one of those helps us create more NPCs, more creatures, more caravans, etc. into the world of Ashes of Creation. And without further ado, we'd like to thank you all for joining us. Whether you're watching us here live on Twitch, you can give us a follow right here. If you're watching us over on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And of course, we thank you to all of our development staff who are amazing and do phenomenal work bringing Ashes of Creation to life. We hope that you all stay safe and healthy. Give us a follow on all of our social channels. We'll have the video up over on our YouTube channel. We're going to, right after this stream, a little shortly, we'll have the 2 4K videos for you for the cinematic and also the dev chat.
Yep.
And then we'll have the full development video for you and the article up on Saturday as per usual. And of course, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We post daily. We always give you cool little snippets. So if you're not following us over there, definitely do so. And we will see you next month for another development update. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.